All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Canadians Connected, CIRA's annual general meeting and symposium. My name is Byron Holland, and I'm the President and CEO of CIRA, the Canadian Internet Registration Authority. I'm going to be your MC for the day, and I just want to say I'm very, very happy to be here in Calgary. I'm an avid skier, have been in this area many times. I sort of hoped we could do this primetime season, but September will suffice. I was going to say last week was giving me hope, though. I thought I might be able to bring my skis out, absolutely. And I certainly promise you that we'll be back here, too. Before we get started, I'd like to just take care of a few housekeeping items. First and foremost, I think you'll see on your table the access to Wi-Fi, the credentials that you need, so it's free and open access to the internet here. So just take a look at the little card on your table. Secondly, if you're going to be on Twitter, the hashtag that we're using is .ca2014, which I think is on the screen right in the bottom left. So feel free to tweet to your heart's content. CIRA is a national organization, so as such, everything we do is done in both official languages, French and English. We are webcasting it with simultaneous translation, and in addition, if you'd like to hear the French translation, we have headsets available for anybody who wants that. I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, which are NetApp, Scalar, and CompuCom. They are all providers that we use primarily for technology, and they are critical to allowing us to do what we do at the heart of the internet, to make sure that we can provide the robust service that all Canadians expect. So I'd like to thank them because with their sponsorship, they help us put on the kind of event that we're going to put on today and to do it in Calgary. So thank you very much to the sponsors. Also, there will be opportunities to ask questions of both our speakers as well as during the AGM. At the end of each speaker's session, you'll have the opportunity to speak. We will have mic runners who are CIRA staff members. You'll see them in the black shirts with the CIRA logo. If you would like to ask a question of one of our speakers, just put your hand up and one of our mic runners will come and find you. During the AGM portion of the event, when we have the Q&A session, we will put a couple of mic stands in the room, and we would just ask that you come up to the mic stand. For both sets of questions, please identify yourself and any affiliation that you might have. We are doing a webcast of this, so this whole event is available to both members and non-members right across Canada. So occasionally we will have questions that we will read out that may be coming from the webcast in either French or English. Again, for anybody on the webcast, please just state your name and affiliation. So we will now begin with the CIRA AGM portion of our day, and I would like to invite CIRA's board chair, Susan Mahanagich, and CIRA's chair of the Finance, Audit, Investment, and Risk Management Committee, Rowena Liang, to come to the stage. I've had the pleasure of working with both of these folks for a number of years. Come on up. First Susan, and then Rowena. Susan is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of British Columbia and a retired member of the British Columbia Law Association. After a 35-plus year career in large professional services organizations, Susan retired in 2009, but continues to provide services part-time to not-for-profit organizations and to their donors, and services related to estate planning, governance advisory, facilitation, and dispute resolution, as well as engaging in active board and volunteer work. Sounds like a pretty relaxing retirement, Susan. Rowena brings more than 25 years of experience in information technology, finance, and project management, as well as supply chain management to the CIRA board. She retired from her full-time position at Canada's largest credit union in 2008, and since then, Rowena has dedicated her time to board and volunteer work. Susan.
Thank you, Byron. I won't try to compete with Scott for scintillating. There's no hope. Welcome, everybody, to our 2014 Annual General Meeting. As Byron mentioned, this is the first time we've held our Annual General Meeting here in Calgary. I'm from British Columbia, so as a fellow Westerner, I know how vibrant and innovative this part of the country is. Well, we all know how Western Canada is an integral part of the Canadian economy, integral and growing part of the Canadian economy. There is more to it than oil and gas. The West also has an active social and cultural scene, one which we bring to the rest of Canada and the world via the internet. Alberta has some of the best education facilities in the country. I'm sure you all know this, including the University of Alberta, University of Calgary, South Alberta Institute of Technology, the North Alberta Institute of Technology, among others, and Athabasca University, one of the leading distance education institutions in the world. Alberta actually leads Canada in terms of household internet penetration at 86% of households connected here, which is pretty impressive. I guess it's not very surprising that the Mayor of Calgary is known as the Twitter Mayor. Calgary embodies many of the values we hold at CIRA, a commitment to creativity and innovation foremost among them. A belief in the internet has the power to affect positive change for all Canadians, whether they be small businesses building their local market, large corporations working on a global scale, politicians like Alberta's newly installed Premier Jim Prentice or your Mayor Neshi, or cultural events like the High Performance Rodeo, Calgary's annual arts festival. Creativity, innovation, and commitment to ensuring that Canadians can benefit from a safe and secure internet experience. These values have guided the work of CIRA in the 2014 fiscal year. I'm pleased to say that I think we've met with considerable success in the past year and moved CIRA forward substantially. There will be opportunities to ask questions later about the work at certain points in the AGM, but I'd just like to go over some of the AGM procedures now. During the AGM, we will ask that you come to the microphone stand to ask questions, so we won't be having the roving microphone. For those of you joining us by webcast, you can type in your questions via the chat function on the screen, and your question will be read in the room on your behalf. Before asking a question, I would ask that you state your name and affiliation. At the registration area, you received members received the kit folder. I encourage you to have a look at the materials inside if you haven't already, including today's agenda and the CIRA financial statements. As a membership-based organization, only eligible.ca members may vote. As per CIRA's bylaws and the Canada Not-for-Profit Corporations Act, in order to vote during this AGM, you must have been a .ca member 21 days prior to today's AGM and continue to be a member as of today. Those eligible members who are joining us via webcast are also able to vote and ask questions and will receive instructions for when to do so from the webcast moderators. For those of you in the room, when a vote takes place, we ask that everybody please remain in the room. Eligible members may vote by raising their voting card when a vote is called. If you are an eligible member, you will find this card in the AGM kit you received at check-in, and I don't have one with me, but I think you'll see it. It's a big red card with red writing. Right. Thank you. So when you vote, please, the form will be to hold your card up high and continue to hold it up until you're asked to put it down so that we can complete the count. Then we can determine that we've got every single vote if we do it that way. For those of you joining by webcast, when a vote is called, you'll see the question appear below the video. Simply click on your selection and your vote will automatically be registered. Individuals who have become .ca members after August 27th, which is the 21-day rule, will be sent to a breakout room during the vote. As there may be a delay for those in the webcast, we would ask you to do this as quickly as possible so we can ensure that we register all of the webcast participant votes. So I hope that's not too confusing. I think it's relatively straightforward. In accordance with our bylaws, our Secretary, Carol McKay, will act as Secretary of this meeting, and I will act as the Chair. Staff has advised me that we have the required quorum of 100 members present in the room and online. With that, I declare the annual general meeting duly constituted, and we will now proceed with the business at hand. Today's agenda was posted on CIRA's AGM website on August 5th, 2014. You will also find a copy of it in the AGM kit given to you at check-in today. Are there any objections to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, we will move on to the next agenda item, which is the verification of the minutes of the 2013 annual general meeting. A copy of the minutes of the 2013 annual general meeting is available in your AGM kits. These minutes were made available to all members through CIRA's AGM website on August 5th, 2014. And I will call for any objections or amendments to these minutes at this time. And seeing none, I verify the minutes as correct. I would now like to thank my fellow board members for the privilege of serving as their chair this year and for all their hard work on behalf of CIRA this year. And I'd like to take a moment to introduce each of them to you. Could the directors please stand when I call your name? Carrie Brown, John Demko, Andrew Escobar, Michael Geist, Bill Gibson, Byron Holland, Rowena Lang, you can stay seated, Louise McDonald, Carol Mackay, Kevin MacArthur, Bill Sandiford, Adam Scott, Bill St. Arnaud, and Rob Villeneuve. These directors will be with us for the day, so please feel free to introduce yourselves to them at the break and engage with them on any issues that you'd like to discuss with them. Thank you very much. I'd like to take just a couple of minutes to share some of our successes for 2014 in an update from your board. The 2014 fiscal year was one of forward momentum for CIRA. CIRA is an organization that looks to the future, and our activities in the past year, I believe, have demonstrated that fact. In light of some of the changes in the domain name and internet space, we've been very busy trying to position CIRA to continue to be one of the world's leading domain name registries. We've known for a while that while the domain name registry industry is undergoing significant changes, we need to change too. From the advent of new generic top-level domains like .club and .guru to decreasing growth rates for incumbent top-level domains like .ca, we're entering some competitive and uncharted territory. None of this is a surprise. We've seen this coming for some time. And as a board of directors, we've been working to position CIRA and .ca to continue to thrive in the face of these changes, and in fact view these changes as opportunities for CIRA to grow and enhance its services to the community. In the past fiscal year, we've begun implementing a new strategic plan that will guide our activities through 2016. Our core function remains the management of the .ca registry and underlying DNS. The strategic plan expands our focus to other areas. It positions us for future growth, fueled by expanded offerings and innovative products and services designed for the Canadian Internet community. From enhancements to the security of .ca, like DNSSEC, and bolstering our DNS infrastructure, we're making sure .ca is among the most secure, top-level domains in the world. With our new offerings like Registry Lock, a service that ensures your domain name can't be hijacked, and the upcoming .ca Anycast network, CIRA is well positioned to continue to be a world-class organization. In 2014, we began work on 2 new products, Registry Lite and Managed DNS services. Registry Lite, a service we will offer new generic top-level domains and small country code top-level domains, enables us to leverage our experience with the .ca registry to create a valuable new revenue stream for CIRA. And once we launch our managed DNS service, CIRA will have improved reliability and resiliency of the DNS in Canada with Canadian infrastructure. This service will reduce Canada's dependence on foreign infrastructure and protect us against denial of service attacks, all while generating revenue. The last but not least success I'd like to highlight is really an update from our last annual general meeting held in Montreal in 2013. In Montreal, CIRA's former chair, Paul Anderson, announced the Community Investment Program. The Community Investment Program is an initiative designed to make a positive impact on how Canadians access and use the Internet. In 2014, CIRA invested nearly $1.25 million in almost 30 initiatives that will advance the Internet in Canada. From digital literacy programs for seniors in Nova Scotia to the development of a tool to identify child pornography on the Internet underway at Simon Fraser University, CIRA is helping to make the Internet better for all Canadians. Excuse me. I'm particularly proud of this initiative. It's been many years in the coming, and it was a monumental effort from the announcement date to launch, and we had overwhelming interest in the program. I'd like to commend the very hard work that was done by our committee that had to do the heavy lifting on all this. It was, but I think it's a great initiative. Of course, all this work has required people, and I'd also like to thank the dedicated management and staff of CIRA for their work this year, as well as my colleagues who serve on your hardworking board. Throughout 2014, we've continued to make progress in establishing CIRA as an employer of choice, attracting the best and brightest talent Canada has to offer in the Internet space. Our people are our most important resource, and with the team we've assembled, along with our strong and committed board of directors, the future is bright for CIRA. I encourage you to read our annual report available on our website at cira.ca for details about these and more exciting new initiatives. That concludes my report on the activities for the year. There will be an opportunity to ask questions later. I will now invite Ruina Liang, the Chair of the Finance Audit, Investment and Risk Management Committee, to present the Auditor's Report and audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2014. I will invite questions following the presentation of that report and the appointment of auditors. Ruina.
Thank you, Susan. I'm here today to present to you an overview of the auditor's report and a summary of the audited financial statement. A full version of the auditor's report and the related financial statement is published in our CIRA website, and it's under Report to Members. First, I just wanted to check. Our auditor, Mahesh Mani from KPMG, is joining us on audio. Is he on the phone? Mahesh? We're going to dial our auditors in. Do we have Mahesh on? Okay. Yeah, well, when he comes online, we'll just dial him in. Let me first report to you that the FY14 financial statement have been issued, an unqualified opinion by the auditors. An unqualified opinion, in lay terms, means that CIRA has received a favorable and clean audit report without any issues. The financial statements represented fairly in all material respect our financial position and our operating results as of March 31st, 2014. So the set of statements is going to be brought up on the screen. Now let's begin our presentation with a statement of financial positions. CIRA is in a solid financial position. Current assets increased by approximately $1.1 million, and it's largely driven by an accumulation of cash in our operating account. Cash was intentionally accumulated for a number of reasons. First, with the introduction of the semi-monthly financial credit program for our registrar at the end of the fiscal year. And secondly, as Susan mentioned earlier, CIRA has invested on our CIP Community Investment Program, and will be distributing, or would be distributing, over $1 million to the successful applicants in the beginning of the new fiscal year. So at the end of the year, our restricted investment balance was slightly less than $23.9 million, which is up $2.9 million from the previous fiscal year. Restricted investment are primarily set aside for obligation that's referred to our deferred revenue, and also for capital investment. Restricted investment is set aside under board restricted investment policy. The monies are invested in accordance with CIRA's investment policy, and it's conservative with a primary emphasis upon capital preservation. Investment decisions are made collaboratively through our investment advisor, TD Waterhouse Management, and also with the oversight of the Audit and Finance and Investment Committee. Our current asset, CIRA has invested a further $1.2 million in capital infrastructure in this in the FY14, and this is to ensure the safety, security, and reliance of our .ca registry and the domain name system. Net of related amortization of $1.6 million, CIRA's total capital asset of $2.9 million is slightly decreased by approximately $500,000. On the liability section of the balance sheet, next slide, thanks. We have four things: accounts payable and accrued liabilities, customer deposit, and current portion of deferred revenue, as well as the current portion of lease inducement. Overall, the current and long-term liabilities have increased by $1 million and $600,000 respectively. The most significant change is the aggregate $1.4 million increase in our current and long-term portion of the deferred revenue to $17.6 million as compared to $16.2 in the previous fiscal year. Deferred revenue represent unearned revenue and CIRA's obligation to provide services to registrants in the future. And in total, CIRA's net asset have increased by $1.9 million. Subsequent to the year end, CIRA has entered into a new lease agreement for 10 years, and this is outlined in your note number 17 in the financial statements. Now we will turn our attention to the statements of operations. Total revenue for the fiscal year 2014 were nearly $18 million, which is $1.2 million increase over the previous fiscal year. The majority of the revenue growth is attributed to domain registration. CIRA continued to experience single-digit growth in domain under management in fiscal year 14, with the domain under management increased approximately 160,000 domains over the level of the previous fiscal year. As of March 31st, 2014, we have just slightly over 2.25 million domain under management. For more clarity of presentation, we have actually split out the investment income into a separate line item. So investment income is net of any unrealized gain and losses, and it's reported separately from revenue. The total operating expenditure in fiscal year 2014 were $16.4 million, which is comparable to the previous fiscal year. The most significant area of change in the underlying expenditure is in salary and benefit. Additional human resources capacity was added in product and services, security operation, and also for development. Salary and benefit increased by approximately $945,000. Consulting, on the other hand, declined approximately $326,000 compared to the previous fiscal year, and this is because we are taking on a majority of our project with internal staff. Our expenditure on computer operation and networking increased approximately $192,000 in relation to the network rezoning project and investment in new technologies, security, and also in network monitoring. Our community investment program, as Susan had mentioned earlier, we had a big investment. However, it is a little bit, well, actually $1 million less from last fiscal year, and this is largely because last year in fiscal year 13 we had hosted ICANN in Toronto, and that's and we didn't have to do that this year. Also, this year we continued our participation in support of BIN 10, and there's also a delay in the timing of disbursement of the initial funding under the Community Investment Program. So in fiscal year 14, CIRA continued to provide direct support and facilitated the community deployment of infrastructure and internet exchange points across Canada. Initial development of a state of the internet prototype. We held another successful Canadian Internet Forum, and also sponsored and support initiatives such as Code for Kids. This is a program that teaches children from age 7 to 13 about the basics of coding technology and also design. CIRA ended the year positively with an excess of revenue over expenses of $1.9 million. So this concludes my presentation of the 2014 financial statements. Thank you. And now I would like to invite Susan back onto the podium to appoint the auditors. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Rowena. Turning now to the appointment of auditors, KPMG has agreed to serve as CIRA's auditors until the next annual general meeting. Does anybody have any specific question with respect to the appointment of auditors? Okay, seeing none. Then may I please have a motion to reappoint KPMG as CIRA's auditors? The motion would be that KPMG be appointed as auditors of CIRA to hold office until the next annual general meeting or until their successors are duly appointed, and that the Board of Directors be authorized to establish the remuneration of the auditors. Could I have somebody make that motion, please? Could I have your name, please? Bill Gibson. Thank you, Bill. Will somebody please second the motion? Can't see. Okay. Could I have your name, please? Patricia Blythe. Thank you, Patricia. Are there any further questions or discussion with respect to the appointment of the auditor? Sorry, it's a little bit hard to see up here. Can you see anybody? I can't see. I take it there aren't. Therefore, I will call for the vote. Eligible members may vote by raising their voting card. Please hold it up as high as you can. And then we will, for the eligible members joining by webcast, could you please vote when you should see the question on your screen. So could you proceed now with the vote? So all those, hold your voting cards until we hear that they've been counted. Okay, we now have the vote results. You can put your cards down. The vote is passed, 77 out of 130 votes. Thank you. Okay, we will now proceed to general questions from the members. I would remind you that this is for the purpose of asking questions and not for the purpose of making statements. So if you could ensure that your question includes a question. Could you line up at the microphones if you wish to ask a question? If you're on webcast, could you pose your question for the moderator to relay to us in the room here? If you could please state your name and affiliation before asking a question. And as this is members meeting, we will start by taking questions from members. We'll keep an eye on the clock. If we do have some spare time, we'll entertain other questions. Yes.
Hi, Anthony Reimer. I'm a personal CA domain holder. With the CRTC currently having hearings and everyone talking about the Netflix tax, is CIRA going to make any interventions with the CRTC with all the talk about internet and TV delivery?
I would anticipate not, but I will turn that to our president if he wishes to comment further on that.
Thanks, Byron Holland, President and CEO of CIRA. No, it is not the type of issue that we would actively intervene on in front of the CRTC. It's a little outside of our typical space.
And mandate. Are there any other questions? Okay, there being no other questions, I don't see any questions either on the Okay, a question from Paul Anderson. He would like more detail on Registry Lite product that was announced, and I will again turn that to staff to elaborate on that.
Sure, thank you again, Byron Holland, President and CEO of CIRA. Registry Lite is a project that we are working on in CIRA, and it is to provide registry services to both generic top-level domain operators as well as country code top-level operators. And the idea is for CIRA to provide a service much like we provide ourselves as a registry of .ca, but to offer similar services to smaller country code top-level operators as well as smaller generic top-level domain operators. It does another thing which is important to us. It gives us as an organization the opportunity to do research and development around that type of product and to look at future opportunities both within our own organization as well as beyond.
Thank you, Byron. Are there any other questions anybody would like to pose? Okay. If not, okay, I'm being asked to wait one moment. I'm just waiting to see if something pops up here on the screen that sorry. It's a question from James Fair. He's interested in knowing how many members are in the room and in the webcast. There are 77 members in the room and 53 members on the webcast. So if there are no other questions, let's check my time. Okay. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I would also like to thank the CIRA staff for all the work throughout the year, but also particularly for putting on all the work that went into putting this event together. It's now time to adjourn the official portion of the meeting, so we would need a motion to conclude the meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you. Could I have your name, please? David Fulton. Thank you, sir. Would somebody please second that motion? Could I have your name, please? Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your voting card. And if you're on the webcast, please vote now. And I'm sorry, we'll have to wait for the count again. It's a minor amount of exercise. Oh, it seems we have a bit of a technical glitch. There's no vote on the webcast. So do we have enough members in the room to pass the motion? We do? Okay, there being enough members voting in favor in the room, the motion is carried and the 2014 Annual General Meeting is now concluded. Thank you very much.
Hi, quickly, thank you very much. Just one quick note in that we are a taking a 15-minute break before our next speaker. So please take 15 minutes and we will be at 1:45. Thank you very much and see you in about 15 minutes. Thank you.